Hi, welcome back. My name is Carson and this is my space where I chat about knitting. Today I will be knitting and chatting, so grab a drink, something cozy, a project if you've got one, and let's just get into it. So yep, I will be knitting and chatting today, but right now I'm just sipping on some apple cider, which is warm, cozy. It has been pretty chilly here. I live in Texas. If you're new or if you just don't know, I live in Texas. And the weather's pretty up and down, but we're in the season of it being cold, at least in the morning. Now it's like lunchtime and it's pretty hottish outside. It's gonna be like 80 today, but this morning it was 50s. Felt so nice. So I'm wearing my Cove sweater. This is by the Knit Pearl Girl. I finished it a couple weeks ago, so it's pretty fresh off the needles. And yeah, this is my second time wearing it just around the house. I work from home, so I don't go out much. I really wanted to wear this over the weekend, but I did not because it was just too hot for it. We went to a scarecrow festival at a local botanical garden, which was really fun. We went last year. I have a almost 2-year-old son, so he's a toddler. He really enjoyed going out and about and seeing all the scarecrows and just walking around. It was a good time. I really wanted to wear the sweater, but it was too hot. Yes, so this is what I'm wearing. I talk a bit about it in my last podcast, so I won't go into it. But this is in Barocco Vintage worsted weight, and I think it is the colorway Caribbean Sea. I looked it up online. I wanted to be better about telling you all about the yarn I'm using and the colorways because I really love it when people share that if I find something that I like. And so I did try to look it up because I don't keep the labels. I know I'm bad. And there were a few different colors that looked similar to this online. So I say that and I'm pretty sure that's the colorway. That's the closest one I found. So yes, pretty sure it's Caribbean Sea. And yeah, so excited to wear it. This is my second time filming this, I will say. So yes, it feels like a Monday. It is a Monday. This will probably go up on Wednesday or Thursday, but today, in real life, when I'm filming, is a Monday, and it feels like one because I sat down and I filmed for like an hour before work this morning. I was like, I'm gonna be productive. I felt really good about it. I sat down, filmed, and then I looked at the footage and I realized I had taken this camera to the pumpkin patch and took some pictures of my son, but I had it out of autofocus. So it was a manual, but I didn't focus it, so everything was blurry. So yes, I'm just telling myself I practiced, and it's probably a good thing that I'm having to film this again because it was so rambly. I had just woken up, got Wilder out the door for daycare, came back, I knew I had to work, and I'm on my lunch break, so I still have to work, but I just feel like my brain, even though I was excited to film, my brain was a little rambly, which it might still be. So yes, I'm coming into this with the project to knit on. I guess I should probably show you what I'm knitting on. This is my California sweater. It looks so fun in the camera. Wow, it's come a long way. Well, not a long way. I recently connected to join the round and knit the body in the round, so that's where I am. So I'm just knitting straight stockinette for a while. Figured that would be a good spot to knit and chat because it's not super strenuous or takes a lot of mind work. I'm not following a chart or anything. I'm just knitting. So I figured it'd be a good place to knit and chat. And this is, did I say this already? This is the California sweater by Leslie Howard, or Knit California. And fun fact, she's actually hosting a knit along for this, which I did not know was happening before I casted it on. So I will definitely be entering in that knit along. It is called, I think, just the California sweater knit along, I think. And it's running from now until the end of the year. So if you're interested in this pattern and want to knit it, you could enter your WIP or your progress or your finished object in the knit along, which is fun. I think there are some prizes. So little shout out for that knit along, which I am joining currently, but So yes, I am knitting on this guy, just stockinette in the round. And I guess I'll just talk about stuff. I was about to say I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but I think I'll just talk about what I ended up talking about to myself, really, this morning. So yeah, I've just talked about what's been on my mind recently with knitting, reading too. I've been reading and listening to some stuff. So yeah, I just figured why not knit and chat? It's been a long time since I've done one of these. Well, I mean, I just did one this morning, but no one will see that. It's thus been deleted, but I thought, why not? It's been a fun time. It's been a long time since I've just done a little casual, cozy knit and chats. I really enjoy watching videos like this. It kind of feels like you're knitting with a friend, you know? Just being able to sit down and listen to someone talk while you both knit or craft or whatever you're doing. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy it too. So I am not sure about y'all, but it is that time of year where I have gift knits on my mind. I'm not sure if y'all gift knit. I gift knit a little, not a lot, but I have a few people in my family, and I guess I have friends too who are probably knit worthy, but my mind is on like December, Christmas, birthdays. There are 3 people I knit for the most that are the most knit worthy too. So I knit for my husband. He has a couple hand knit sweaters from yours truly, and those are a labor of love. He did request them, or I guess I kind of put the thought in his mind. I was like, would you like a sweater? And he's like, yeah, I'd wear one. So he has 2 sweaters. I'm not sure if I'm going to knit him anything this year, not because like he hasn't earned it or anything, but he just kind of has like what he wants, you know? He has a sweater that is actually like a hoodie. It has a hood on it that I finished for him a couple years ago or last year. He wears it all the time. He actually wore it for the first time this season. This past weekend he was out fishing on the boat, and it gets chilly whenever, you know, the wind and stuff is out. So he wore it then, and I actually need to wash it and block it because it's been a while since it's been washed. But it's just really fun seeing him and, you know, stuff that I knit, and just seeing him actually wear it is really cool and care for it. He did tell me he had it hanging, which I almost exploded. I was like, I guess I forget sometimes people don't know. Like, I'm a knitter, so I understand you probably shouldn't hang your knits. He said he had it hanging for a few months. I was like, I'm never knitting you anything again. Why did you hang that? And he just genuinely had no idea that you are not supposed to hang knitwear. He kind of scared me because he was like, oh, it's kind of grown. I thought you said you could like shrink it in the washer. And I was like, no, where'd you hear that? And I was like, how did it grow? Which, I mean, I know it grows with wearing. And he was like, oh, well, it's been hanging. Like, it's been hanging in my closet. I was like, oh my gosh. So, yes, just a random tidbit. Yeah, I wasn't mad at him, but I was like, I mean, I was a little mad. See, I wasn't like, I guess I wasn't angry, but I was just like, jaw dropped. How could you have hung something in your closet for months that I had no idea about? But yeah, he didn't know, right? He didn't know. So anyways, that's a little tidbit. The sweater's fine. I put it on. He was like, oh no, it's fine. I was like, thank God, because I don't know how I would fix that. But yes. All I have to say, I'm not sure if I'm going to knit him anything this year. Just because like he has that sweater he wears all the time. I have offered to make him some socks though. And I'm kind of surprised he's turned it down. He was like, no, I'm not sure. I don't want you to knit something that I'm not super sure I would wear, which I'm thankful he said that. You know, I wouldn't want him to be like, yeah, I guess so, and then not wear it. So, unsure about that. He does have a pair of fingerless gloves that I knit him a few years ago now, and although it's a small project, it was on fingering weight yarn. I used Patton's Croy. The fingers, what type of glove is that? I knit the fingers, but they stop at a certain point. They don't go all the way on his fingers, but you do have to make individual fingers for these gloves, and that's what he wanted. And he really wanted some that were longer, like stopped right above the fingertip. And he wears those all the time. So again, it's really fun to see things that he wears all the time and appreciates. So I think I might eventually knit him another pair of those gloves just because he's worn them so much. They're pilling like crazy. They're almost kind of felted just from use. But it's okay because they're workhorse gloves. They're not meant to be pretty, you know? They're just meant for his use, so. Yes, so that's the first person that's knitworthy. And then my Nana, I've talked about her quite a bit on the podcast. If you're returning, you've probably heard about her. She really enjoys hand knit socks. I knit her some one year for Christmas, and she loved them. She uses them mostly as house socks, just to keep her feet warm and cozy. But the reason she really likes them is because she has a really long foot, and she has to special order shoes and stuff sometimes. So I think it's just nice for her to have something that someone made and can customize to her foot, and it fits perfectly. So I don't know, I really like doing that for her. So I've knit her quite a few pairs of socks over the past, I guess I've been doing it for 2 years now. So I'm gonna knit her more socks this year for Christmas. And I've been kind of going back and forth about what sock I wanted to knit her. I thought it would be a good, or just like a fun time to knit her some colorwork socks, but I'm just not sure how it would fit on her foot, or if it would fit on her foot the way works out. Wow. The way colorwork works out sometimes. I usually do go up a needle size for my colorwork socks, and sometimes I'll even increase a little bit to go up to the next size of the sock. And yeah, colorwork, because you have those, it's like 2 strands of floats, I guess, depending on how many strands colorwork are doing. I usually only do 2 colors though at a time. And just because the colorwork is usually a little bit tighter, it just fits differently than, you know, an Oliver stockinette sock or rib sock. So yeah, I've kind of taught myself out of that. I did buy some yarn for some socks for her. Her favorite color is purple, so I got some springier, pastel-y, lilac or lavender colored sock yarn, and then I also got some deeper purple. So I was hoping it could kind of contrast color work, but since I'm not too sure if I'm actually going to go through with that, I think I've decided I'm going to knit her some DK weight rib socks. I have knit the High Desert socks before by Lindsay Fowler, I think, is who designed that pattern. They are DK weight or worsted weight, I'm not actually sure, but it's two strands of fingering held together. And they're rib socks, and so I love the ones I made myself. They fit really nicely, and I feel like rib socks are a bit forgiving because they have some stretch to them. And I've actually knit her rib socks before, and I know that she likes them. So I'm thinking I might just do a pair of marled rib socks, just to be on the safe side, because I would rather knit something that I know will fit rather than knit something super cute that will not fit, because in the end I want her to be able to wear them. So I will be casting this on soon. I always tell myself that I need to start gift knitting in September. I don't know why that's like the magic month for me, for Christmas specifically, and I never do it. Even though I tell myself I know I should do it, I never do. So I think I'm going to cast those on maybe at the end of this month or in November. Because they're DK weight or worsted weight, they're fairly quick sock to knit, so I'm not worried about it. Like, I know I'll get them done, but so I'm excited about that gift knit. And then I have not talked about or shared any knits for Wilder recently. Wilder is my son. Like I said, he's almost 2. He's a toddler now, which is wild and so cute. I haven't shared much about him because I just honestly haven't knit him anything in a really long time. So yes, he is a toddler. He's wild. He's dirty all the time. He's outside playing all the time, and he loves, honestly, all the boy things. He loves playing with little cars and in the dirt. We took a little boat ride yesterday, and we hung out on a sandbar, and we gave him just a stick, and he was just playing with the stick and sand for like an hour. Which is so nice. So yeah, all I have to say, he is a little boy, wild and rambunctious, and he is dirty. So the reason I haven't knit him anything in forever is honestly because I'm not really sure it would fit in with like his lifestyle right now, you know? Like, he goes to daycare, and whenever he comes home from daycare, he is messy. He eats really messy, so he constantly has like pasta sauce all over him at any given moment. Yeah, so I don't know. I haven't really thought about knitting him. Well, I actually have thought about knitting him garments. Again, I used to knit him quite a bit whenever I was pregnant, and whenever he was smaller, I knit him a few baby sweaters, which were really cute, and he did get some wear out of. But now, because he's just so rambunctious and wild, like, I don't know if I would never send him to daycare in a hand knit sweater because it would come back in pieces, like tattered. So yeah, I actually do have a sweater on the needles for him, but I started it last year and I never finished it because it's really big. And I did recently pick it back up thinking that I would finish it, and I bound off the body because I have the whole body done and I had the ribbing done for the hem. I just needed to bind off and I was lazy, so I didn't for months. But I recently did. I did a sewn bind off, and now I just have the sleeves. But I looked at it again, and it's really big still. I didn't even share what pattern. It's the Storm Sweater by Petite Knit Junior, I think. I knit the smallest size. I think it's 1 to 2 years, and he'll be 2 this December. But it's really big still. Like, I put it up to him, and it's past his knees. So I don't see him wearing that at all right now. It's too oversized. Unless he grows like an inch or two, maybe more, which I don't want that to happen right now. But yeah, I don't foresee him wearing that this year, which is kind of sad, but also I'm glad it's too big and not too small. So I am unsure if I'm going to finish that for him. But I have been perusing some stuffy patterns, like stuffed animal patterns, because like I said, his birthday's in December, a couple weeks before Christmas, and Christmas is coming up too, and I really love the idea of giving him something handmade or hand knit for his birthday or Christmas, or both, every year, just as like a special memory and like a keepsake, heirloom, or I don't know, I just love handmade stuff. So I think that'd be a really fun tradition to keep up. And yeah, so I've been looking at stuffies because I made him a stuffed dog, a stuffed puppy this past year, early this year, I think in February. And he loves that thing. I try not to baby his knits, but it's hard not to, right? Because like, I made it, I don't want it to break or anything, but it is on his shelf, like high up, and I'll get it down for him if he asks for it and let him play with it, of course. But he's just so rambunctious, you know? He's so wild. Yes, I have also had to re-sew the ears on a couple times because he likes to take it by the ears and just like drag it around, which is really cute. But so he loves it, and I think it's partially because it's a dog. He loves dogs. I don't think he understands that I made it for him at all, you know, which is okay, it's fine. I'm just glad that he likes it. He was in a really big stuffed animal phase a few months ago. Well, I guess early this year whenever I knit that for him. After he turned 1, he loves stuffed animals, and he would pick them up and hug them and drag them around. He hasn't done it in a while though, so I think he might be phasing out of it. But I know that if I like showed one to him or gifted him one, he would love on it, at least for a little bit, you know? And he would have it, hopefully, for years. So I am looking at stuffed animal, I was about to say stuffies. I think that's what they're called on Ravelry, maybe stuffies or stuffed animals. But all I have to say, I think I want to make a video soon just looking at all the patterns I'm potentially thinking about making him for Christmas or his birthday, because it's been a long time since I've shared anything about like kid, toddler, baby patterns, or just knitting in general. So I think that'd be really fun. We also have, me and my husband have friends who are having their first kid later on next year. But I think it would be fun to knit their kid something for Christmas, just because, you know, it's their first baby. It's a really fun time, fun milestone. So I've also been perusing baby patterns, which are really fun to look at. And yeah, so I think maybe that'll be a video soon, looking at patterns, because I love to look. I love to look and sometimes knit them. So yes, I've been thinking about gift knitting a lot. I also have been seeing lots of people knit little ornaments and stuff for the holidays already, which is such a good idea because I feel like I always get inspired to knit them once the holiday is approaching. It's like I don't have enough time to knit them, you know? That's what I'm trying to say. So I really love seeing people knitting them now because it kind of inspires me to knit some now. I have really enjoyed knitting tiny sweater. I guess I've only knit one tiny sweater, but it was fun to knit. And I actually just hang it up whenever it's not on our Christmas tree year round. I just put it somewhere. So I think little things like that could also be fun to use as a garland or something too. I saw someone also knit a little bear. Maybe I'll put a picture if Eden and Carson remembers. This is a note to myself. They knit a little bear with a scarf, and I actually found the pattern on Ravelry. I'll try to put names up here and link stuff down below because the name escapes me. And it's a bundle of little winter animals, and they're so cute. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be ornaments, like it is an ornament pattern, but I could see myself knitting those and just like putting them around the house, you know? It'd be so much fun. So yeah, I've been very inspired recently by all the fall and winter holiday stuff. I've also really been enjoying seeing everyone's posts about Rhinebeck who were there. It just seems like so much fun for so many people that have the same craft, hobby, passion to be in one place. It just sounds like so much fun. Obviously, I'm not there, but it's really fun. I don't know, just to see everyone having a good time. And I'm really excited to watch, hopefully, some YouTube videos of people's vlogs or just talking about the experience of going. I'm gonna be looking out for those. I really enjoyed watching flock videos too after whatever weekend that was. I feel like I saw a ton of flock videos and Instagram posts. It was so much fun just to watch. It has kind of inspired me to look for knitting events and knitting groups in my area. Not a lot of people I know knit. My cousin knits now, which is really exciting. Not a lot. She's about to go off to college next year. She's got a lot going on. So she doesn't have much time to knit, and her main thing is crocheting. So, but it has been really fun to connect with her about knitting and crocheting, honestly. Just like fiber. Just have a little fiber friend. And my aunt, which is really funny to say, she also crochets, and so whenever we're all together, like I think last year for Christmas we did a little crochet knitting day, and we all went to the yarn store, just like a commercial yarn store in my hometown's area, and we just had like a really fun craft. I went back to my other aunt's house and had a very cozy time. I think the fire was going, and maybe my cousin made us some coffee. It was just, I still think about that day. It was one of my favorite days ever. I say it's funny to say my aunt because my mom and her brother are 18 years apart. And so my uncle is actually only 4 years older than me, so we're pretty close in age. And he married someone a year younger than me. So I say aunt. And you know, it's funny. And it's really funny because now that I have a kid, she's now Wilder's great aunt. And she's like 24, 25, you know? It's so funny. And my uncle, who's like in his early 30s, is a great uncle. So that's why I said it's funny to call her my aunt, but yeah. So yeah, I've been really inspired to find just a group. I have asked my local yarn shop before if they do like knitting events or knitting meetups or anything like that, and they don't. But they do have people just come into the shop and kind of hang out. I just really want to make a local fiber friend, you know? So I even looked today at like Houston knitting meetups, and I found one that's once a month. So I kind of want to challenge myself, even though it's like an hour and a half-ish away, challenge myself to get out and meet some knitting friends. Or if anyone lives, I don't know how far-fetched this is. If anyone lives in the Golden Triangle area and you're looking for a knitting friend, I think it would be so much fun to host like a knit meetup in the park or something. Or maybe even in the Houston area. If there's any southeast Texas, Houston, Golden Triangle area people out there listening, I feel like that's so far-fetched, and if you're interested in something like that, let me know. You know, I'm not like an event planner or anything, but I think it'd be so fun just to pick a park and go lay out a blanket and meet some new friends and knit. Just seeing everyone at Rhinebeck with fellow knitters, it just feels inspiring, you know? Even though I'm not there. It feels inspiring. I also think it'd be really fun to see like everyone's sweaters in the wild, or garments, sweater patterns that you know and you recognize. That is the aspect of a yarn festival that really appeals to me. Seeing everyone, meeting people with the same, you know, hobby, passion. And of course the yarn. The yarn, so beautiful. So yeah, I'm excited to see everyone's videos and posts and just live through y'all who went. So I probably do need to wrap this up soon, but I will chat just for a minute about books I've been reading, listening to. I finished the book I mentioned in my last podcast, that I started listening to, I actually finished reading the physical copy. It's called, oh wait, I have it. Let me finish my couple stitches. It is called, whoops. This book is called Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. Oh, kind of a glare. Sorry about that. But yeah, so I started listening to this book on Libby. And then, of course, I have a really hard time listening to books that are like 11 hours long. That's so many hours, you know. I have a hard time listening to them within a 2-week time span. So my Libby loan for the audiobook ran out, but I found this at my library. I just happened to stumble upon it. So I checked it out and I read the last 100 pages. But thoughts about this book. It is a mystery, which I do not read. I honestly just read it because it was available on Libby, or I listened/read because it was available on Libby, which that's what I tend to do. I don't really look for certain books on that app. I just kind of find what's out there and what I can and what's available and then listen to it. So it's kind of a fun way for me to get out of my comfort zone because I'm a fantasy girl through and through. That's really all I read. But yes, what about this book? I will say, now that I finished it, it was a fun read. The mystery aspect definitely grabbed me as someone who doesn't read mysteries. The whole time I was just like, what happened? Like, I gotta figure it out, you know? And I'm a sleuth over here trying to figure out what the heck happened. And the wrap-up of it all was very confusing. I honestly don't know how the main character got to that conclusion that he did. I don't know how he solved it. There was a lot of, like, backstory stuff, and it was very confusing. The wrap-up was not very satisfying to me. Like, I kind of wanted it to be something that I could figure out, you know? Because the whole time I was trying to figure it out. So yes, that part, at the end I was kind of like, aw, man, like, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that he got to that conclusion. But I did like the main character in this. It is, I guess, narrated by the main character. His name's Ernest, or Ernie, and this is about a family, kind of on a family reunion, who goes to a snowy resort and of course gets snowed in, and then death starts happening, murders. And the thing that got me the most about this was the name of it. Everyone in my family has killed someone. And so I kind of came into it thinking, oh, this is about like a family of crime and, you know, whatever, which they kind of sort of are, like teeny touch of that in there with a spin on it. But some of the deaths are just kind of like circumstantial too. So that was interesting. I really liked the prequel to this book. It hooked me. The narrator talks to you as well. So the main character, who is the narrator of this book, Ernest, for a living, he writes ebooks. He writes books on how to write books. So he's kind of an expert on how to write mystery novels. So it kind of held my hand and talked about some very common aspects of mystery novels because of his profession. So I feel like this was a good one to start me off with because I know, you know, I've never really read a mystery novel ever. So I don't know about all the different, I don't know, tropes and rules and stuff like that, but it was nice to have like a narrator walk me through that. And I also enjoyed this narrator because he was witty. He was a little funny. He was a little long-winded though, and he knew that. Like, he said that out loud. But it was a little not irritating, but just, I mean, yes. And sometimes, like, whenever the suspense was there, it was building, he would like take a moment and pause and then talk to you about something, and I was like, just get on with it, you know, let's move on. But other than that, I mean, it was a good fun read. Did it stick with me? No. But I really enjoyed it, and I got to reading a little bit about the author after this, and he is actually a comedian, which is pretty cool. And I feel like I could sense that in here. Even though there are deaths and it is dark, it's not a comedy by any means, but there is some humor in it, which was really fun. And what else do I want to say about this? Oh, I really enjoyed the audiobook while I had it, because the author is from Australia, I think. This book is set in Australia, though, and the narrator was Australian. And I just really enjoyed listening to him. He had a nice Australian accent, you know, narrating this book. And it was funny because once I got the physical book and started reading it, I automatically heard his voice. I just kept his voice in my mind. So yeah, all around, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good book. Then while I was at the library, if you've been following along, I've been reading Dance of Thieves. I say I've been reading. I read 50 pages and then stopped. Not because the book was bad in any way. Just because I lost all my reading mojo. It all went out the window. Because I've been knitting so much. Like, I don't want to sit down and read. I want my hands to do something, which is kind of why I've been into audiobooks. But I told myself I really want to get back into reading. I love reading around this time of year. So even though I was only 50 pages in, I said, you know what, I was like kind of stressed about just trying to finish that book or just read it again. I was like, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to pause. We can put it away and we can restart it at a different time. I have a really hard time finishing books that are in my personal library because I own that book. I think because the deadline is attached to like actual library books, I'm more motivated to read them. I don't know what that says about me. I don't know why I need deadlines. I mean, that's like, I'm a copywriter, so it's the nature of my job to have deadlines too. Maybe I'm just like a deadline-oriented person. I don't know. Because I'm definitely not knitting. But yeah, like I'm just like, I need deadlines to finish a book now? I don't know. That's where I am in life. But I picked up this book from the library. This is called The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. Again, the glare. There we go. The cover is so pretty. I picked this up because I wanted just like a one-off, something easy that I don't have any expectations about really, you know, just something fun to read. I'm not sure if this is going to be a series or not, if it's just a standalone, but I'm pretty sure this book came out not too long ago. So yes, I really picked this up because a few months ago my sister-in-law came to visit, and also my brother too. But we went on a little book spree. We went to the bookstores and perused. We got some books. But she was really hunting for this book specifically in the bookstores. I guess she saw it online maybe. And she really wanted it and we never found it. So whenever I saw this at my library, I was like, oh, and I texted her immediately. I originally didn't pick this up for a couple months. And then the last time I went back, I found it again, and I mean, it looks brand new. It looks like no one's opened it but me. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is a sign. I just need to read this book. The commentary on the back, like the little blurbs, say it's very cozy. It says, this book was like sitting in the sun, watching bees in the foxgloves, a warm, peaceful delight of a novel. So very, I guess, aesthetic or atmospheric. I'm only 1 chapter in or 2 chapters in. I'm only 13 pages in. I just picked this up the other day, and I haven't been reading it that much. I need to start again. It does feel very cozy. It starts out pretty wild. It's, I think it says this in the... Yeah, so she's a librarian. The main character is a librarian, and she has a talking assistant, of course. She has an assistant who is a talking plant. This is a fantasy book. Preface. So that was just really fun to start off with. Something like quirky like that. It was just, I don't know. It was really fun to read. It is fun to read. And there is war breaking out. She has to leave her library. And right now they're just like setting sail to go to this other land. So that's all I've got so far. But it is definitely fun to read. 13 pages in again. Take that with a grain of salt. But I really do like the writing of this book so far. Again, 13 pages in, but so far so good. So yeah, that is what I'm reading, which has been fun. I really enjoy just going back to the library. I hadn't been to the library in a month or two, which is uncharacteristic of me. I'm usually at the library all the time. So I think just going in the library and seeing all the books and checking out books, it just like rejuvenated something in me that I needed to be rejuvenated. So yeah, I think I'll actually wrap this up soon. I did get a bit of progress. I mean, I say that. I was like talking mostly, but I got a little progress on the body. So yeah, I am a tad bit worried about the amount of yarn I have, even though I checked the pattern and I checked how much yarn I have, and for my fingering weight, did I say this? This pattern uses fingering weight yarn and lace, but I'm using mohair. Oh, I didn't talk about that because I didn't even say what the color was, did I? I haven't talked about this at all. Wow. But I'm using Mayflower Easy Care Merino in the color Red Ochre, and then I'm also using Friends. Oh, crap. trying to do this from memory and I can't. Friends, silk mohair. Friends mohair. It's Hobie or Hobbies mohair. Friends is the line, and it's in the color cognac. Not totally sure if I'm saying that right. But yes, this pattern uses fingering weight and lace held together on a very large needle size. So I'm using US 10.5 needles. So it eats up not that much yarn. Like, it doesn't take a very large amount of yarn because the needles are so big. That to say, I'm a little panicky. I'm into my second ball of fingering weight merino, and I only have 4 in total. Like, in total, not left, but total. And I'm only this far on the body. And I'm so worried I'm not going to have enough. Unless the sleeves just use, like, a very minimal amount, which could be the case. I'm concerned. I'm worried. But I'm telling myself I'm not going to go off and buy more yarn just yet. I'm going to either finish the yarn I have and then buy more yarn, or maybe I'll just finish the pattern and hopefully I'll still have a tiny bit of yarn left over or nothing, you know? Hopefully it works out perfectly. But I should have a few yards left. Like, I have 30, 40 yards more than what the pattern says. So we'll see. I am worried though. I'm not gonna lie, I'm worried. But I know the nature of this pattern. I'm holding out hope. We'll see. We'll see. But yes, I guess I'll wrap this up because I gotta go back to work. But I just wanted to say before I go, thank you all so much for just following along and all your nice, kind comments. I know I've been gone off and on since I've had my son, but I'm really glad to be back consistently, hopefully, again. Hopefully every week is my intention. But it's just been really fun to get back in the community, and y'all been so kind, leaving lots of nice comments, and I love reading them. And yeah, y'all give great advice too, and great suggestions. So I just want to say thank you for hopping off, because it's been a real delight to connect virtually. I know I've talked a lot about wanting to meet knitting friends in real life in this episode, whatever this is, Knit and Chat. But it is really nice to connect with y'all virtually as well. Of course, I do love hearing about what y'all are working on, anything y'all are excited about. I love seeing patterns or hearing about patterns that y'all are knitting on. I definitely have added some to my dream queue in the past, so feel free to share what you're knitting on, what you've been enjoying. And yeah, y'all, I guess that's it. And thanks for watching. I guess I'll see y'all next time.